Okay, well, welcome everybody to the last day of Vox Days 2016, and thank you for coming to listen to this talk about motivation. I hope I will motivate you today. I'd like to start just by telling you who I am and what I'm doing here. My name is Catherine. I work for the Swiss web agency Namix. But on my side job, or my secret superhero life, I do some coaching and motivational talks, and I help people to realize their goals and their dreams through motivating them and helping them organize their time and how they dedicate their efforts. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about motivation. Now, if the slide wants to change. So motivation in itself is not such a complicated concept, and it's something that we all have in ourselves inherently. As human beings, as animals, we have the motivation to continue our species, to not do stupid things like jump off of bridges or kill ourselves so that we cannot reproduce. So motivation in itself is quite simple. But the idea here is how we focus our energy and continue to be motivated towards going the place that we need to go in life and not just spinning our wheels, hence this funny picture of the hamster. Because you can be motivated every day to keep on going and keep on turning, but where are you going and why are you focusing your energy and where and what's the whole point? So motivation isn't exactly the point. The point is your goals. Understanding where you're going is a lot easier than to motivate yourself to reaching those goals when you know where you're going. I'd like to start then by asking you to think about your goals and how you decide what your goals are, and that's by trying to imagine what your vision is. So most people have a really hard time figuring out what their vision is, but when you have an expectation and you compare it with reality, I like to say that happiness minus reality, or sorry, happiness equals expectation minus reality. So depending on what your expectation is and what this vision that you have is, you are always comparing it to reality, and then in the end you end up with your happiness quotient. So if you start with how you define success, you can more easily compare your reality with the success that you have on a daily basis. So if you define success as getting up in the morning, going to work, making a paycheck, and coming home and just being a successful human being, supporting your family, you can appreciate that success on a daily basis and be really happy in life. But if your definition of success is having a startup company that makes $1 billion a year, and you have a regular job in Belgrade, you're going to be constantly comparing yourself to that idea of what success is and thinking that you're always failing. So the idea is to reprioritize and take a look at what success means to you and what your personal goals are in order to not seem like a failure to yourself on a daily basis. So here we get back to the idea of a vision. It's really the most challenging thing for people to try to imagine what they want to obtain out of life. And the easiest way to do this is if you can even all close your eyes and imagine for a minute that you've just won the lottery. You have $10 billion, you have perfect health and all of the money that you need, and there's no financial or any other kind of restraint on your future success. And if you can take a moment and really imagine that, visualize it. What does it look like? Where are you? What are you doing? What kind of job do you have? Who is around you? And really consider that you can have that vision. So once it's a really clear vision, and you can do this at home and come back to this, you need sometimes more than 10 seconds during a lightning talk to really visualize what this means to you. But once you have that, you need to break it down into goals, and that's what's going to motivate you and keep you moving. But then I'd like to move then to priority, because in your vision, you're going to know then what are the things that are most important to you. And when you really suspend belief and go to that bigger picture, you get really deep down into your personal priorities and what the success means to you. And that can surpass all of these little day-to-day annoyances that are blocking you from staying motivated and from attaining your goals. So the thing I like to say is this oxygen mask metaphor, like when you're on an airplane and they say, in an event of emergency, the oxygen mask comes down, and if you're traveling with a child, put your oxygen mask on first before assisting the child. That means that your priority needs to be yourself. If you are not healthy, well-rested, have the education that you need to do what you want to do, if you don't focus on yourself first, you won't be able to help anyone around you, and you definitely won't be able to achieve your goals and stay motivated. So putting yourself as priority, that goes for your time and people who are constantly vying for your time and distracting you from your goals. You have to remember that you are first. Put that oxygen mask on yourself first in order to move forward. Now, it's time to break it down. And here, it's all about project management. And the project is yourself. So we all know how to do project management when it comes to IT. You have milestones, you have goals. Once you have your vision and you know what you're trying to go for, it's a lot easier to break these things down into user stories or smaller goals. And then you get down to an even deeper level and dial down to specific tasks that you need to accomplish that will help you achieve those goals, the goals which are then the building blocks of your bigger vision. So once you have your goals set, you can even look at your time. And I like to make like a blueprint of your year in quarters. If in 1 year you want to achieve your vision, or in 5 years, whatever it may be, but if in 1 year you want to achieve your vision, what are the individual things that need to happen in order to make that vision become a reality? And if you break those things into quarters, and the quarters into months, and then you can dial down into a weekly blueprint, a list of weekly tasks that need to occur in order to move the goal forward to becoming the vision. And this is how you can stay motivated and stay putting one foot in front of the other on a daily basis. Then the next thing that's really important, it goes back to the idea of happiness, and constantly comparing and constantly judging ourselves and saying that we haven't had the progress that we think we should have by now. So it's important to then celebrate your smaller successes, to take a moment each day and say, okay, I didn't accomplish my vision today, but what part of my goals did I accomplish, and what can I celebrate on a smaller level? And that really helps you to stay motivated towards your goal. And I'd like to share with you a little exercise that my father used to do with me. We are not like a religious family, but every day before bedtime, my father would ask my brother and me these 3 questions. At the end of each day, just say, what are the things that you're thankful for today? What were the things that you're sorry for today? And what are the things that you're hopeful for tomorrow and for the future? And by taking a moment to reflect and celebrate the successes, but also acknowledge things that didn't go right and things you were sorry for, and then the last moment to look forward to the future, and that all helps you stay motivated towards moving forward and getting to your goals and your dreams and eventually your bigger vision. So I would like now to open up to some questions. That was kind of a really fast dose of motivation, I hope. Does anyone have any questions about this? Anna, you look like you have a really intelligent question to ask. I'm mostly motivated by my greater vision, I suppose. And the way I got into trying to motivate people and trying to help people with their goals was that I moved to Serbia 3.5 years ago for a job. And I picked up my whole life, and I spent all of my savings moving to Belgrade. And after a year, I realized it was the worst thing I'd ever done, and it was the worst company I'd ever worked for, and the worst people, and I just was really, really miserable. And I decided just to pick up and walk out the door in Belgrade with no support and no income, and being completely alone, basically, with 3 children. And I just said it's better, I think it's a better move for me to be alone and figure out my next move than to work for people I don't respect and I don't think are treating their employees correctly. And when I was thrown into that situation, I had to build myself back up, and I just went out there online and I found my own clients and I built things back up. I was counting dinars to buy milk one day, and eventually somebody took a chance on me online and I built a new client base. And now I run the #1 Swiss web agency in the world in Belgrade, and I'm very happy. But I like to share that story with people and show them that when you realign your priorities and understand what's really important to you and try to block out negative influences around you, that you really can achieve your greater vision. Any other questions?
I have one. Hi.
Hi.
What do you think about motivation when you're surrounded with smart people and they motivated you to become like them, or eventually you think about them, they are so like some kind of god or something like that, and eventually you follow them to become even better than them, something like that. Is that a healthy motivation?
Oh, absolutely. And I'd like to say that you are the CEO of your own life. And the top 5 people that you surround yourself in your life are the people that you will become the most like. So if you stay in negative circumstances or a negative circle of friends or even family, sometimes you have to take that oxygen mask approach and say, I need to take care of me first and make sure that I am stable and I am surrounded by positive, like-minded people, and separate yourself from some of the negative influences around you. So it's absolutely a huge help to make sure that's why I left that job, for example. It was just surrounded by negative people who would not move me forward. So definitely it's a great goal to surround yourself with people you really respect and that motivate you to be better. Anyone else? 2 more minutes?
Hi.
Hi.
So my question is regarding how to motivate people who are low on income and low on life, because that is a usual situation here in Serbia.
So the first thing I do when I work with Serbians, and usually I work with people who either have no job or have a job that they hate, and they have this constant comparison with maybe the degree that they had, and constantly are disappointed that they're not doing the thing that they studied to do. And this again is like this comparison of the expectation and reality. So what I try to do is to get them to write down the priorities and the definition of success that's a personal success. So what does your success mean to you? If you're always thinking, oh, I studied to be a nutritionist and now I'm working in an office or a bank, and you just keep beating yourself up about this, you're keeping yourself down. But if you can say, to me, success is contributing at a company or making a certain amount of money or helping other people, then we focus the goals on attaining those things, and it completely changes the mindset. And usually what I try to encourage people to do then is to leave the negative environment of the job, or if they're stuck like in a negative surrounding, even family-wise, try to remove themselves from that. And I usually train people to work online. That's sort of my background, is I teach people that they can complain all they want that they're in Serbia, but you're not in Serbia if you have a computer, internet, and if you speak English. I don't want to hear it, you know? It's not an excuse anymore. Anyone else? 1 more minute.
How do you motivate people in your company?
In my company?
Yeah.
I skip through the office singing Christmas carols, and that works like a charm. No, really, the #1 thing that I do in my company to make sure we have a really good vibe and really good energy, it starts with the recruiting process. We just really make sure that everyone who joins is like-minded and positive. But we do a lot of things together. I mean, the one question that we ask before we make the decision to hire someone is this a person that I want to go have a beer with after work? And if my colleague and I say no, it doesn't really matter how great of an engineer the person is. they need to be able to contribute to the energy and the vibe that we have in the office. So, anyone else? I'm here all day. No, just kidding. Time's up. Any questions? Feel free to contact me. My contact information is on the website and probably on the last slide, which I will show right now. There. Catherine@namix.com.